and Deezer.
Give your day's dose of music for the soul. Listen to the music of ACS, Bukas Palad, Hangad, Himig Haswita, Musika Kiaza, and many more. Click on this link to learn more.
Radyo-Katipunan 87.9 FM. Follow at radyo-katipunan in our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter.
Radyo, 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 katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, 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 katipunan, radyo, katipunan. The voice of the Eagle kami, di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Ateneo sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 katipunan, radyo, 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 katipunan, radyo, radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, punong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiting at tigil.
The Council of Organizations of the Ateneo Manila. You can also stream us at Radyo Katipunan's YouTube channel at radyo-katipunan FM.
We are also coming in via audio streams at any shoutcast online radio station around the world. So just search for Radio Katipunan. We are also transmitting via the 87.9 FM frequency. So tune in if you are within the 2 km radius of the Ateneo de Manila campus.
Yes, and besties, to give you all a short flashback, Friday, last week, we were able to immerse ourselves in the world of PMCon. We had a meaningful conversation with their project heads and core team members about how COAM's Project Management Conference came to be. It was really fascinating to see how many members of the Atenean community are interested in making an impact through their projects.
If you remember, the project heads of PMCon were actually women, and this just goes to show that truly women are very much great leaders, and they're still so inspiring and empowering in their own unique ways.
Yes, that is true. Of course, Chachi, we have been saying this since yesterday. Women.
Exactly.
Women. Anyways, for today's episode, we are going to celebrate women together by conversing with some amazing women in our org community. I'm ready to be inspired, and I'm sure that all of you are too. So without further ado, let us welcome Noelle Cubacub from Ateneo Gabay, Nicole Masagca from Development Society of the Ateneo, and Iris Del Rosario from Ateneo Economics Association. So you guys can open your cameras now. We welcome you in. Hi guys!
Hi guys!
Oh my God, everyone's
You guys are looking
good.
so good today. Blooming everyone kahit, makulimlim sa labas.
Yeah.
You guys are the sunshine. Okay, so we first want to give you a warm welcome to Kwentuhang MVP, and we first want to thank you for being here with us. It's really an honor to have you beautiful and inspired women to accompany us here today. And before we start, let's have a short kamustahan. Firstly, introduce yourself to everyone who is watching and listening to us today. So it's just a quick introduction. Name, year, course, organization, and position. So maybe we can start with Iris. Then Iris, you can call out anyone who hasn't spoken. Okay, thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Iris Del Rosario. I'm from 4AB Economics. I'm the current Vice President for Externals of the Ateneo Economics Association. And can I call on Nicole for her introduction?
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Nicole Masagca. I'm from 3AB Development Studies, and I'm the Vice President for Research and Development of the Development Society of Ateneo. Go ahead, Noelle.
Hello, everyone. I am Noelle and Cubacub, a junior from AB Sociology and the current Finance Officer of Ateneo Gabay.
Ayan, there. Since we met all of our guest speakers, I just want to ask, how have you been doing lately? How are your ACADS and orgs and other things in life? Like, how are you guys balancing it naman? Maybe you can start with Noelle. Then Noelle, you can go ask again other guests.
Okay. So I want to convince myself that I am doing okay in my life in general, despite a lot of things on my plate. ACADS may be quite a little overwhelming now in the following weeks to come, but I can say that I am really enjoying my classes as well as my remaining org works. Yes, Iris, how about you?
For the month of March, it's very hectic for a we're pushing out a lot of projects this month. And on top of that, I have thesis, which is just so exciting, so fun. But I guess I'm surviving, so that's good. And can I hear from Nicole?
Okay. Thank you for asking. I'm actually enjoying because right now I'm taking a minor in health and development. So I have some electives that I'm taking, which are really centered on understanding more of what's happening and the health crisis we're experiencing, and also ways that we can move forward from that. On top of that exciting academic work, we also have our own projects that we're running with our project management class. So right now, I'm working with a community in Batangas where we're developing a water credit initiative where we hope to give more access to water filters to community members from low-income households. Yeah.
So it's really nice to hear what you guys have been up to. And given that, I want to ask also, how do you feel right now, given that it's March and we're celebrating Women's Month? So maybe you can start with Nicole.
I feel very excited. I actually just listened to Beyonce's home address to the graduates of 2020 last year, but I just watched it last night, and really it reminded me of how much power women really do have when they recognize their potential, and when we allow spaces for them to grow and flourish. Yeah. How about you, Noelle? How do you feel about Women's Month?
Actually, same lang din. I'm really excited kasi I know a lot of women and their efforts will be more recognized and acknowledged as we celebrate this special month for us that, can serve as inspirations, not just for other women, but for all people.
I guess on my part, if I could share a short anecdote, my organization actually posted like this pub mat showing their appreciation for the women in the executive board, which came as a surprise to us. It was so like heartwarming, encouraging. I was really thankful to have that kind of support system beside me. And I guess I just felt so empowered having that reminder that I am making a difference to my work and I really value my work.
Wow. Honestly, it's so refreshing to have like an all women talk right now, especially we're celebrating Women's Month. So it's really inspiring to hear from all of you guys. And to move on, I want to ask, what are you looking forward to the most in the following months of this semester, even though we're just in like an online setup? Maybe you can start with Iris this time.
Um, so this semester is actually my very last semester in Ateneo. I'm really looking forward to graduating, and I'm also like down to my last month serving AYA as an executive board member. And as much as I would love to stay and continue to grow with my organization, I am more excited to see the potential of our other members in the upcoming AYA elections. Can I call on Nicole?
Thanks, Iris. Actually, next week we're going to be having our Philippine Development Youth Congress, which is the flagship project of the Development Society of Ateneo. It's going to be happening from March 22 to 27. We have 20 organizations from all over the Philippines coming together in this online congress. And it's really a few days of capacity building sessions where we invite our delegates to learn and really develop their skills in building unique and innovative initiatives for their communities on the ground. And on the last day of the Congress, we will be awarding award money of 25,000 pesos for the best organization, that shows the most promise to implement their own initiative on the ground. So that's the most exciting thing that we have in store in the next week. Yeah. How about you, Noelle?
Okay, for me, I think I am really looking forward with the remaining projects in Ateneo Gabay, especially in my office, since we are planning to have like the last fundraising project for this school year, as well as the upcoming election to see the amazing people who will continue the story of our organization. So right now, we're in the middle of leadership training program for aspiring leaders.
Okay, nice. So since some of you mentioned already about your like org's upcoming up activities, can you share with us like a sneak peek of what you guys have in store for us, or like any upcoming projects for your orgs or events? Maybe you can start with Noelle, then you can follow on another one.
Okay, so for Ateneo Gabay, maybe you can watch out for our Scholars Week and some projects for our public elementary school kids, as well as the fundraising project ng office ko. I think marami talagang pinaprepare yung Ateneo Gabay for its members and for other stakeholders. How about you, Iris?
For this month, we actually have 3 projects lined up, which are also actually headed by some of the strong and independent women within our executive board. So the first one would be the Basic Economics Conference Series, also known as BECONS. It's an educational opportunity by the Ateneo Economics Association, the premier economics organization of Ateneo. And this project features talks given by guest speakers of economic caliber and academic-related group dynamics for its workshop component. So with the topics derived from basic econ, so EC 110 from the Ateneo curriculum. Beacons actually also serves as a 6-session certificate course. It's open to non-Ateneans and actual professionals as well. And the second we have lined up is Advocacy Week. So it's a 5-day event happening from April 12 to 16 that introduces different NGOs and social enterprises to cater to various advocacies of the youth. So this event will feature talks, games, as well as volunteer and internship opportunities. And lastly is my project, the Development Economics Conference of Ateneo, also known as DECA. It's a 3-day event in which junior high school students are invited to learn more about development economics through lectures from experts in the field. And we also have knowledge building contests between the participants. So this event aims to encourage economic discourse among the youth and stimulate economic awareness within an interactive and competitive setting. So that's all we have for EA so far. Next, Nicole.
Okay. So thank you so much, Iris, for sharing. It's funny because we also have really in-line projects. You know, I mentioned the Philippine Development Youth Congress. The angle of this one is really capacitating youth leaders in really forwarding their advocacy in a time that is very volatile, and really ensuring that we provide an environment for young leaders to recognize their own potential, and we cultivate their skills and becoming relevant actors for social change in their own communities. So yeah, actually, since we have our own delegates now, the best way for you to support this initiative is by buying some merchandise from us. So just hop on to fb.com/PDYC 2021, and then you can see the links to our merchandise lines. So we have shirts, tote bags, pins, stickers. Yeah. Another thing we have coming up is Project Alaga. So it's a series of talks where we aim to cultivate a space for discourse on how do we create safe spaces for children in voluntary church activities, especially with the status quo and the the vulnerability of children in church settings, where we hear reports of, unfortunately, sexual misconduct and these kinds of transgressions against youth, the youth in these settings. So it's really bringing representatives from the church, from parents, from actual youth leaders in the church, and finding ways to move forward and cultivating this safe space. We actually had one of the sessions during the Talab sessions. And from that, we also had another, and from that, we're going to be having another few sessions coming in the next few months. We also have this project called Advocates to Champions. So in the first semester, we focused on youth and marginalization, the LGBTQ community, and we really helped our own members to we guided them in a step-by-step process where they hear from different experts in the field, fellow youth leaders, and conduct even their own data gathering in creating a very relevant initiative to help the community, the LGBT community. So from that, we had Kwentuhang, which is a podcast aimed to amplify voices of people in the LGBT community. And it's very exciting because we're on our second wave of that same project now, where we focus on cultivating youth leaders for the agricultural sector and working with farmers. So right now, they're going to be meeting with members from the farming community, the agricultural community, and really designing an effective initiative for that. So we can expect to hear about their initiative in the coming months. So yeah, those are the things we have lined up for DevSoc.
Wow. Honestly, hearing all of your upcoming projects makes me realize that, like, even that the online setup won't stop us student leaders from doing our goals for our org. So it's really amazing to hear that, and I hope everyone who's watching now and the Ateneans will look out and support these causes, because they're really also great and they're for a good cause as well. So to move on, we want to talk about and learn more about your individual journeys as student women leaders. So take it away, Cass.
Okay, I'm super inspired right now and super excited actually to hear more about your journey. So we all know that the org community in Ateneo is pretty progressive. I think we can agree with that. And positions are not usually determined by your gender, but of course we'd love to hear about your stories as women. So this part of the segment, like this part of the show naman is contextualized in your women leader positions. So the first, just to lay the groundwork for everything, what exactly do you do in your position? And also, maybe you can explain to us why you pursued it. So maybe we can start with Iris and then just call someone afterwards.
So during the time of my elections, running wasn't exactly like on my mind. I was busy with academics, but one day while I was just hanging out in the org room, one of the EB members that time asked me if I had any plans to run. I mean, I wasn't opposed to the idea naman from the start, but knowing that some of the leaders that I personally looked up to saw my potential, that time kind of like helped me make up my mind that I do want to serve the community that helped me grow into the servant leader I am today. And hopefully, like, I could also be that helping hand to the next set of ANs to help maximize their potential as well. So, what's your story, Noelle?
Okay, so actually, same with Iris. Parang 50-50 din talaga ako before to pursue a position in Ateneo Gabay. But it's my second year in the executive committee. I think I made the decision because of two things. So, first is gusto ko mag-grow together with the organization na as I try to improve myself, I can also make an impact to the lives of other people, especially sa kapwa ko scholar at sa mga batang binibigyan dapat ng quality education. And I think the second reason would be may mga taong naniwala sa akin kahit sa mga oras na parang maski ako hindi pinaniniwalaan yung sarili ko. And it really gave me courage to go out of my comfort zone. So, yes. How about you, Nicole?
Um, so why I pursued my position for DevSoc? It was really born out of genuine curiosity because we're a home organization, and in the years leading up to, I guess, in the beginning of my journey in college, I began to notice that a lot of Athenians usually gravitate to orgs that are not usually their home org, and that fascinated me, because like where else would you want to grow but from home, right? But then there's a dichotomy that exists because we have some organizations that are really strong home organizations. Like say for example, you have Maya, right? It's like lanyard palang, that's a Mayan. And I guess like I was curious, like why don't we have that same vibe, or why don't we have that same fervor when we think about DevSoc, right? Or any other home org for that matter. And then with this curiosity, I began to just really ask people, and then I found like just a pocket of an opportunity to bring this conversation to the forefront of the org when I signed up for project head of our leadership seminar. So it's one of the few opportunities we have to bond as an organization, but it's also a way for us to really inculcate leadership skills into members for them to run for future EB positions. And it was from Lead Sem that we realized that the reason why a lot of people were kind of disengaging from the org was that we weren't being attentive to what really matters to members. So what does this mean? This means that more, as development studies majors, we want to go out in the field, we want to explore, we want to be in touch with communities. But at that time, the trend of the activities that we had were mostly focused on delivering talks and seminars, but the only real opportunity that you have to work with a community member or to work with youth leaders was just the flagship project. So that time we knew that there had to be a change. And I had experience working in consultancy for organization development from Code. Hello, coders, they're watching. So I from that and the lead some experience, it was really just everything just clicked. Na parang this is a chance for us to make a pivotal change in the org, and who else would be willing to step up, right, for this challenge? And it first it just had to come from me, the belief that I could be somebody that could I don't know, trailblaze this torch or whatsoever, or just really get just as much as people involved and believe in the change that had to be made. So that was really one of the driving forces that made me run for R&D, because I understood R&D to be such an instrumental actor in shaping whatever image the org had, not only to its members but also outside. Like whatever projects we created from within could create like ripples of change that could really change we think about development and involving youth in development initiatives. So yeah, it's really, I guess, my origin story for running for my position.
Okay, that is truly inspiring, because honestly, we all have our vocations and all of the, like, we all have our reasons as to why we joined our org. I think we're pretty familiar, even though me and Chachi are freshmen, I think we're pretty familiar with the whole falling in love with an org system thing. It's really endearing, and it's something that you can hold on to for the rest of your life. Like, it's not like, after college, it's not as if you're gonna forget these people. And so I think me and Chachi can completely relate to what you guys said. Okay, so now that we've laid down like your positions, so we understand that you guys are leaders, right? As women leaders, can you give out some points that you want to improve in the Ateneo community as a whole? It can also be within your org, but better if you can, no, you can point out some things that you would prefer weren't there, or you would prefer to be changed. So does anybody want to start? Maybe Noelle can start.
Okay, so for me, I think the university and its people are really working to achieve the goal na a gender-responsive community na nagpo-promote ng gender equality, gender sensitivity, and, the gender fair education. Siguro marami pa tayong magiging journey, or like marami pang challenges na kakaharapin para to become an inclusive community na nagre-respect na, human dignity, self-identity, self-expression, and yung diversity na meron sa campus natin. Well, ngayon ay virtual campus. So, yes. Pero I think para sa akin, I've been part of the executive committee of Ateneo Gabay for the past 2 years. So last year, I was the member formation committee head, and, currently I'm the finance officer. And for the past years, I've experienced both what you call male-dominated team and female-dominated team. And one thing that I'm really proud to say as a Gabayano, or as a leader, is that there's no difference at all. And I think makikita mo yon sa lahat ng org na nandito sa campus, na wala naman akong na-experience or nakita na may natamata yung kakayahan nating mga babae sa organization. And at the same time, I think wala namang special treatment din na hindi ka titingnan bilang isang prinsesa kung nasa male-dominated team ka. Kasi yung pagtingin sa bawat isa ay bilang ikaw mismo, yung kaya mong ibigay para sa organization mo. So parang kung may bubuhatin, na-experience ko yun, kung may bubuhatin, magbubuhat ang lahat. Kung may kailangan lutuin or hugasan ang mga pinggan during our planning seminar before, wala yung gender roles or stereotypes na sinasabi sa ating society. So for me, it's something na kailangan lang nating ipagtuloy para hindi mawala yung sense of like equality na nasa campus natin. Okay. Take it away, Iris.
So rather than, I guess, wanting to change something, I guess I just want to like make a point. Since this talk is about like women leaders, I was thinking like, rather than seeing like these people in positions as women leaders, I think member formation is also very important, because I feel like everyone has that potential. Not just the people with the titles right now. Maybe they're still like taking those baby steps, but that's completely fine. Like, everyone really does have that potential, and it's really up to you. And the support system you have if you really want to tap into that. I just think all women are very powerful and very capable of taking these positions as long as you want it and you're willing to work hard for it. So take it away, Nicole.
Thanks, guys. I think you really did a really good job of illustrating how inclusive our university is when it comes to cultivating young women leaders, young female leaders on the ground. But I do feel like there are steps to be made in ensuring that we can create more environments like this, even outside the university. What do we mean by this? Leadership doesn't just come from you being part of an org and you having a position, or you being even a member of an org or being a student. It means that you're able to go out, you're able to create discourse with people on various and relevant issues concerning women that especially may not even be in the narratives that we see every day. Say, for example, right now, women are one of the most affected groups by the pandemic. We experience domestic abuse at home. We experience even higher rates of unemployment, right? Like a lot of women are suffering from poverty now, and the effects that the changes that we have made in the past few decades are now being reversed because of this pandemic and the lack of intentional and focused strategic methods to ensure that women stay afloat in the pandemic. So apart from ensuring that we cultivate, empowerment inside, I think there also has to be intentionality in ensuring that these leaders that we cultivate are able to go out and spread that kind of change when they graduate, or even while they're still in school, when they lead their own initiatives, when they go under NSTP, or even just conversing online. So there are so many methods for us to integrate the relevance of in discourse about women and women's struggles in society, because I feel like, especially with the privilege that we have, being even able to right now is a privilege, right? That we have internet, that we are able to have the space to discuss this. So it's an instrumental thing that we're opening spaces for discussion such as this session, but it needs to exit out of this echo chamber. It has to create ripples of change on the ground. And I hope that we can do more of that in the future.
That is super true. Honestly, when I was reading through these questions, I was thinking also like, Ateneo is a pretty ideal society. Like if we took out Ateneo and turned it into the world, it would honestly, like, with how progressive everyone is and how open-minded most people are, it really would be an ideal society, right? But I really agree with Nicole that we, like as leaders, or as women in general who are in positions or who have voices, who have the privilege to speak out, we should extend outside of this bubble of this really beautiful, progressive community. We have to reach out and we have to continue to spread that so that eventually maybe, the Philippine people could be as open-minded as us. We do have the privilege to be able to speak out and educate other people about that. So honestly, I'm super hyped up right now with all of your answers. Really inspiring, and like I'm super excited for what you guys are gonna do next. But okay, so let's continue on. So we were talking about your positions, right? And we understand that you guys are at a level of authority in your orgs. So have there been any instances wherein you had to put your foot down or make a tough decision regarding your team or your project? So this is more about your journey as an org leader na. Who wants to start? Maybe Iris? Iris, you want to start? Okay, go ahead.
I guess during this shift to the online setting, I guess like most orgs, we had to make decisions regarding like our usual set of projects. So if we'll be pursuing them, are we gonna set them back? Are we gonna adjust them to fit the limitations of virtual interactions? Just mapping out all these contingency plans was really difficult for me. And of course, the feeling of being like held back really took a toll on me because especially in my department, all my projects are usually like when on site. It involves this sort of field trip aspect. So focusing on actually visiting like our external partners, so organizations and corporations. But after properly assessing our situation and focusing more on opportunities rather than constraints, I was able to realign these initiatives to still fit with the objectives and learning outcomes we always want to impart on our members. So, can I call on Noelle?
Okay, so I think nabanggit na rin ni Iris talaga yung pag-shift natin sa online setup. And considering yung nature ng ginagawa ng Office of the Finance Officer, fundraising projects, and we all know na parang nagkakaroon na ng donors fatigue sa mundo natin with all the donation drives, with all the pledge drive. So parang it's really hard to think of ways on how to raise funds, lalo na para sa aming sectors. So, and this year, actually, nagkaroon ng crisis yung isang project under me. And dumating sa point na kinoconsider na namin na hindi yun ituloy despite the importance of the project for the organization. Kasi kung hindi itutuloy yung project, iniisip ko paano na lang yung next na finance officer. Wala na siyang chuching. So paano na lang magtutuloy yung mga projects na ng organization. But then seeing the efforts and time na binibigay ng project heads and their core team members, to think pa na yung mga core team members nila ay halos freshies, newbies. So parang nakakatuwang makita na hindi pa nila na-experience yung org culture sa physical setup, pero sobrang buhay na buhay sila. As in, sobrang committed sila sa work nila. So parang paano ka naman makaka-hindi doon, di ba? So kailangan talagang pag-isipang mabuti yung bawat galaw, yung bawat desisyon. So as an overseer, syempre dedepende sa'yo lahat ng teammates mo para sa mga desisyon, diba? So, in the end, I think naging maayos naman ng lahat. Winay yung pros and cons talaga ng mga bagay-bagay. And of course, naging learning experience yung nangyari, yung project na yon para sa office ko and sa mga people directly involved para hindi maulit yon hopefully next year.
Okay, I can go. Thank you for sharing, guys. Definitely this year has been filled with a lot of challenges. Entering my term alone, we were met with the anti-terror bill. So that was a very controversial time, I would say, in, I guess, our lives. There was the ABS-CBN shutdown. Everything was happening. I felt like I was just settling into my position as a VP for R&D, but then I was immediately met with like shockwaves of crises that we had to respond to and deal with on the daily as news cycles came in. So one of the biggest and I guess toughest decisions that we had to make, and I guess I don't make this decision on my own. I try to cultivate a space where we make decisions as a team, regardless of your gender, your belief, or your dogma. It's really a team effort, because whatever we put out online, whatever we release, it's a statement that must be representative of what we believe in as members of our organization. And then I think our friends here would know what that really entails for statement making, for publication making. So for R&D, one team that I handle is really the advocacy arm, which deals with a lot of the projects that I mentioned earlier, and the information campaign that we had to release in response to ATB. So this year, there really is a shift, I guess, which we see not only in DevSoc, but also in a lot of organizations where a lot of us are becoming more politically inclined, more vocal about a lot of the things that are happening in society, which really is a response to the way that government is acting and responding to the pandemic, like militarizing response, like penalizing people for not following, instead of a whole of government, whole of health approach to public health. So it's really the toughest calls that you have to make is really ensuring that you stay true to what you believe in as an organization. And this is where we really came with the concept of no dissent, no development. Like the ability for you to develop a country is predicated upon your ability to dissent or to create discourse for opposition. So from there, it was really, taking it each statement at a time, each step at a time, making sure that we're able to create tailored responses to news cycles, to events that come along, that and actions, and opinions that not only last on like JPEGs that we release, but are translated into action through our initiatives, through our funding efforts, and all of the things that we do to cultivate our young leaders in the organization and outside. So, yeah.
Okay, and that is great. And I'm super happy that you guys were there for your teams. I'm sure that you all played super essential roles for them. And I'm pretty sure that, it would have been hard for them if you guys weren't there. So I applaud you guys. Give yourselves a pat on the back because you deserve it. We're pretty much good now with your journeys as women. But just to top it off, what do you think is the importance of women taking up space in organizations and in our society in general? So you can go ahead. Nicole, maybe you can go. Yeah.
So I think the most important thing about ensuring that women have a seat at the table is that they're able to shape society based on the narratives and that they have, based on their own lived experiences. The trouble that we have when, men speak for us is that they do not know how to shape a world that is responsive to the needs of our sector. And that goes as well for providing representation for various groups in society, for people with special needs, for IP groups, for agricultural community. So these are things that we learn about in development studies, and I guess in every field, that for you to have a fully inclusive, a fully developed society, you have to ensure that everybody is represented. And that just doesn't just mean that when you have a woman, that's it, right? Like that woman has a very unique lived experience. Like all of us here in this call have very unique lived experiences. My experience is different from a woman who grew up from a low-income household, who lived from the province, who migrated. We have very unique experiences that cannot just be, reduced to us just being women, right? So the more women you have, the richness and the diversity that you have to create policies that actively shape and allow them to create that allow them to grow in that society that you build. So women are not a monolith. We do not have just one experience. We are diverse. So the more women we have, the better off we will be. Go ahead, Iris.
So it's like same as Nicole, representation is always important, and like in the context of women, like the past valedictorians actually of the Ateneo have been women, and it's honestly so inspiring. And like we are like very diverse, but we also can't deny that there's this sort of like shared experience we have just because we are women. And like just seeing such strong women like rightfully claim their titles and continuing to push through with like incredible determination in return, like motivates me like as a woman to do the same. And so Noelle.
Okay, so for me, it deals with the fight for the normalization of women in leadership positions in our society. Kasi through the current efforts of women today, we can gradually change yung notion na kailangan there's something maybe extraordinary with some women that made them capable of serving or leading others. So by stepping up and going out of our comfort zones, it may inspire other women na we belong in these positions and not that we will be entering a responsibility na parang we are put in a separate category, or may we have like, different branding apart from male leaders. But of course, kasi minsan parang yun nga, parang it's a compliment that shouldn't be a compliment always. So parang ganun yung iniisip ko. But I just want to clarify na it is also important to always, recognize the changes women made in the course of history, may it be small or big, because we will start from here to achieve yung sinasabi ko nga na normal na leader ang mga babae sa ating lipunan.
And I agree with all of what you guys said. Honestly, again, I'm just going to repeat, women. It's just, we are so important in our society because we have to, especially the leaders right now, especially having women leaders. It's because we were set back by a lot of abuse and discrimination in the past. And I feel like healing that as a community is a big role that we have to play as girls who are willing to lead or girls who are already leading. So that's what I'm excited for. Thank you so much for sharing your journeys as student women leaders. And right now we're gonna dig deeper a little bit into you guys as just women in general. Like no more org anything, just you guys as girls, as power women. I'm super excited. Go Chachi, I'm sure you have all the questions.
Yeah, honestly, like hearing all of these made me so happy, and it like all of your answers reminded me of the quote that the future is female, and I agree with it. Seeing like all of you guys talk about your vocations and your goals, it makes me it reminds me that you guys are laying the groundwork for future women leaders here in the Ateneo community, and it really builds inspiration for everyone who's listening to us, and even Cass and I as women leaders also in our orgs. It relieves us to hear that that you guys are working on these things, because it serves as a huge inspiration again, and it's really inspiring and empowering. So like what Cass said, we'll be talking about more broadly about you as a Filipina and Atenean woman today. And I feel like you guys answered some of these earlier, but if you'd like to expound on it, then it would be better. So for the first question, what is it like to be a woman leader here in the Ateneo community? So maybe Iris can go first.
Like similar to what Cassy mentioned a while ago, like the LS community is like, it's this small sample size, but it's definitely like progressive if you compare them to other like sample sizes. Like I personally have not felt oppressed in Ateneo because of my gender, especially like me taking up any leadership positions. And we're very privileged to be in this kind of environment that extends their support to everyone, regardless of their gender identity. So that's my experience, like being a woman in Ateneo. Noelle, what about you?
Actually, I think nasabi na rin ni Iris talaga na ako rin, wala rin ako na-experience so far. Pero I think yung Ateneo, with its really vibrant and productive org culture na very unique sa atin, has a lot of, student-led organizations na pwedeng maging avenue para sa akin to grow and to know kung ano talaga yung interest ko or hobbies ko, and of course yung advocacy ko na dadalhin ko kahit na sa paglabas ko sa university na to. Well, siguro medyo nakakatakot yung real world dahil katulad nga ng sinabi kay Cassy din na hindi natin alam na baka hindi masyadong open yung pag-iisip ng tao sa labas. Pero I think we are ready for that. So we are trained to, speak up, to fight kung ano yung sa tingin natin ay tama.
I think Ateneo has really been such a welcoming space for young women to lead. It provides you with all the skills, all the opportunities that you have for you to develop your potential and really take up space. So I'm very privileged to have been given this opportunity. But as I said earlier, there really needs to be more intentionality coming from us women leaders as well to extend these same opportunities to people outside of our groups, outside of our circles. And even with all of these like great things that are happening, we still hear, stories, unfortunate stories of abuse and violence against women, even within our own community, which is difficult to reconcile with, with the quote unquote progressiveness of our environment. So there needs to be like greater steps for us to take to ensure that these women are heard, these women are listened to. Like the ability for them to come forward with their stories has to be easier on them, because as we know, with the trend of things, of reporting cases of these things, it's really difficult for you to step up and say the truth of what has happened to you, and to relive that trauma again and again just to prove that it is the reality of what happened is difficult. So there needs to be like really more steps for us to ensure that these delicate things are dealt with appropriately, or given the same weight and relevance as we do in the cultivation of young women on the ground. So I do believe that we have such a vibrant space for women to grow, but we have really a lot to go with making sure that we grow that space even further for generations to come.
I agree with all of your answers, and honestly, they're all beautiful answers. And I feel like as privileged leaders here in Ateneo, we should extend this what the power and privilege we have right now to outside communities, to be able to fully achieve our goals of inclusion, and to be able to reach out to other women who doesn't possess and have the same privilege as we do. So building onto that, what learning experience from like your participation in your respective organizations will you take with you as a woman after you leave the Ateneo or when you venture out into other things? So maybe we can start with Noelle.
Okay, so for me, with all my experiences so far, it's important to build and foster different relationships with your team or with other people. It's important na you treat each other as people na you can approach to, even tapos na yung business nyo sa isa't isa. But of course, with great emphasis pa rin sa pagrespeto sa autonomy, authority, and agency ng bawat isa. Kasi hindi naman natin alam kung hanggang kailan tayo nasa loob ng ating mga bahay. And with the challenging circumstances talaga, I think it's great to have like a support system na pwede mong takbuhan if ever. So I think yun yung something na binibigyan din talaga ng halaga ng Ateneo Gabay na gusto kong dalhin kahit saan ako mapunta. How about you, Iris?
Like same as Noelle, like Aya provided me this safe space for like self-expression and personal growth. Like they're always so encouraging, even if you're just like taking baby steps, they hype you up like so good because they're genuinely like so proud of whatever progress you make. And I guess stepping out of Ateneo, that's the kind of mindset that I want to keep, like the mindset that I'm just as capable and I have as much potential as anyone else in the room. And I also want to continue creating these safe spaces for everyone else to maximize their potential with me. Nicole?
For me, it reminds me of this quote from AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is my favorite person ever. She said, change takes courage. And that's very true. Especially in these very difficult times, change really does take courage. I learned this the most when we were transitioning into consultancy, which was the platform that I ran under with my position. I believe that we could do more as an organization for our community, and using the skills that we have as development studies majors to really help and empower sector-based organizations to continue working with communities on the ground, especially during this pandemic. So it took a lot of courage inside of me to believe that it was something that needed to be done, but more so to ask people to believe in it as well. So that courage doesn't just come from you, it comes from the community that you have, from the support system that you have, and from the organization and the people that are there with you to carry it into fruition. So I'm hoping that there are more women who believe in this, that we have within ourselves that agency and that potential to create change, and not just to envision it happening, but to actually make it happen. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. And like, kahit like kami lang ni Cassy yung kasama niyo right now, I'm so sure that your stories are heard by every viewer and listener we have right now. And I'm sure they learned as much as we did. And we'd like, we know that there's a lot to be done more in terms of women in society and women here in the Ateneo community. And there's a lot of work, but it's really glad to hear that we're in the state of progressiveness, and it's really refreshing to hear from all of you. But it's always great to know that young women like you are stepping up and challenging the notions that restrict them, especially in a society where gender roles are also very prominent. So yes. So before we end, let's do a quick Q&A to wrap up the show. So Cass, take it away.
Okay, yes. Okay, so this is just gonna be quick. Let's make a sequence na para hindi magulo. Okay, so we can go with Iris, Noelle, and then Nicole. Okay. I'm just gonna ask a question, and then after that, you're gonna have to answer it as fast as you can.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Chachi, do you want to join?
Hot seat. Di, okay lang. Sila na lang.
Okay, sige. Okay. So I'm gonna start, okay? So Iris is first. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Favorite thing about being a leader?
Being able to mentor and work alongside others who also want to make a positive change.
Okay, that's nice.
Yes.
Nice.
People whom I share this journey with.
So sweet. Okay.
Favorite thing about being a leader, my team. I love my team so much. My power squad, Kyle, Gra, Janelle, I love you.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh, okay. How would you describe the women of today?
Women of today are resilient, always persevering amidst adversity.
Nagtataya para sa iba.
Revolutionary. Women are revolutionary.
Oh my gosh, it's so refreshing to hear something outside of empowered. It's so
true.
nice.
So true, queens.
Okay. The most inspiring woman that you know, Iris, go.
Okay, I can't think of one. I'll make a short roster. My
Okay,
mom,
go.
my best friends, and of course, my fellow women leaders.
Okay, go, Noelle.
My mother and my sister.
Nicole.
Me, my mom, and then AOC, and then Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yes.
My faves. Yes.
That is true. Anyways, guys, we enjoyed so much with you. As in, me and Chachi, we feel like yung little birds who are being taught how to fly.
True.
Like, super excited to eventually experience your journeys, if we can, like similar journeys as freshmen. We're super inspired right now by such strong women, and being in your presence, honestly, making me shake a little bit, but like super solid talk. That's pretty much it. So, do you guys have any shout outs that you want to go? Like your favorite women? You want to shout out your moms, your org mates, or anyone? You can go ahead. Does anybody want to start?
I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of those supporting radyo-katipunan's Kwentuhang MVP episode for today. And of course, my members who are always so supportive. Like, I know this month is super hectic, like with both ACADS and org work, but we're getting through this successfully.
Anybody
I can
else?
go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I don't know if you're listening, but hi, mom. And also hi to our EB from DevSoc and my R&D team. Hello, mga anak. And also to my freshies, my DS freshies, my Comtech freshies, my social freshies. So yeah, I also want to plug DevSock's merch for PDYC. So I was feel. The Development Society of Ateneo is proud to present Scintilla, PDYC's official merch line. It's a monumental merch line together with its exclusive sister merch line Beyond. Offers up to 19 pieces and 13 unique bundles for your perusal. Top are Keystone pieces, the Apex and 80s graphics inspired t-shirt, the Wanderer, a 60s sci-fi inspired tote bag, the Explorer, a premier PDYC DevSock lanyard. Scintilla also has a sticker pack, art prints, button pins, and curated bundles containing all of this at bit.ly PDYC 2021 STNTL. So reach us at fb.com/PDYC 2021 to access our merch carousel and order forms live until April 4, 2021.
I love this
Thanks,
feel.
guys.
It's so compact and perfect. Good job. Okay, Noelle, do you have any
Okay, so I would just want to say hello to my mom. Nasa kabilang kwarto lang siya nanonood. Pero hello, mom. I'm here. Pero hello din sa Adlaw, so the executive committee ng Ateneo Gabay. Sana nanonood kayo. Tatanungin ko kayo mamaya sa meeting natin sa mga sinabi ko. Pero yes, and sa mga lovely deputies ko and project heads and sa lahat ng mga gabayano. And plug lang din, ayan, abangan ang Scholars Week 11 Tindig, where we celebrate the gift of scholarship and the scholar community sa Ateneo. So, merong fundraising project doon na where you can buy merch na, of course, scholar-related din, na makaka-help sa ibang NGO na nagkikater din for quality education. And of course, yung huling fundraising project, hopefully, conceptualize namin ng maayos this coming May. So, thank you so much. Thank you, Kwentuhang MVP.
Yes, okay. And for me and Chachi, both of our mom shoutout, wala na oras. Fiona and Max and our org mates rin and Buckmates. So, ayan. Okay. Again, I am Cassy Valencia from 1ABIS.
And I'm Shirley Martinez from 1AB Boss, and this has been Kwentuhang MVP. Happy Women's Month, everyone.
Happy Women's Month, everyone. Thank you so much. Yeah.